Yes, guys, I'm here. Yes, sorry, everything went wrong. The chat room was not working. The audio was not working. It's mostly the stress caused by these stupid Logitech webcams, and you can see my keyboard in the upper range. I wave with my arm, but it doesn't respond at all. So if you have two webcams on one computer from Logitech, it's not working very nicely. It's a little bit frustrating because you don't see my action. And yes, but we are working. We are back again. Maybe it's this. The 920 works well, and the 930 from Logitech is not that well. So, but yeah, we are again, and I did reboot, and let's go. So I have, yeah, you hear the Celtic harp sound from Blue 3. So the samples, John added the samples into the code which I created. They are ready to go, and yeah, and you can see it's a very nice sound. And of course the nice reverb. And by the way, one thing I did, because I'm starting now with some design work, sound design, is that I combined this Celtic harp with the santur, this dulcimer type of instrument. So let me play the dulcimer for you. So the santur, which is this sound. I think you can recognize it. They hit it with a little spoon type of thing. Of course, I'll play a bit out of the range of the santur, but the cool thing is with Blue 3, it has 6 oscillators. You can combine it together. So I stacked the harp with the santur. Listen to this sound. Okay. So I'm muting my microphone, otherwise you hear the clicking of the keyboard. So is that cool? You combine a santur together with a harp, and I even went a third oscillator, which has a vox sound, so vocal sound, and you get something like this. So you see, that's a combination of more things together. And yeah, of course, the diamond string is inside of it. Originally, it is a mono sound, but by a little trick, I made it stereo. So that's originally this sound. It's really 80s. So, and yeah, and if you put that one, let's say the analog type phaser, which we have, of course, I need to direct it. So I'm editing here a little bit on the left side. You don't see it, but I'm FX1. Or then if you add a little bit of stereo delay. Panning, maybe a bit too much. So that's the diamond strings. The original one, if I go back to original sample, this is the diamond string stereo. The other one, I need to select that one, is then mono. But then stereo because of the phaser. But this is what comes out of the machine itself. And of course we have then the Solina strings also. So let me take the Solina strings. So you see Go-To, by the way, you see Go-To in front of you, but it's Blue 3 you will hear, you're currently hearing. For the ones who are thinking, oh, these are sounds I don't know from Go-To, but it's the future Blue 3. So let me take the Solina strings. With the phaser. Well, this is a phaser, so not a flanger, but a phaser. And then in the FX, you have several options to have more stages. This one is a 5-stage, so you can tweak the sound quite a lot. And what I always do is the sound fully wet, otherwise sometimes you have a volume peak. So I set the volume fully wet, then is the phaser the best. Okay, can we also edit the solo and diamond string when it's ready? Yeah. I mean, it's a the sound, you can do whatever you want. So if I even would go now, let's say if I would go to a preset which is already inside of Blue 3, so I'm playing now. So let me see. No. Tough pad, maybe that one. No. Oh no, I see why it's so loud. It's going a little bit too loud. So here it's using. No, that's not the right one. No, sorry for that. I'm looking here. Okay, now I have real classic strings, and I could add a 6 oscillator using the Solina strings. Let's see what happens with that one. Here's the Solina. Or I could shut off the real classic strings. Then you have a more mellow Jupiter type of pad. Yeah, that's one. And then I put in the Solina strings. You get really a different sound from that perspective. So I might save this one. It's a nice patch. So save preset in folder, and then you see introduction. Okay, and then I need to give it a name. Of course, this one would be Solina pads, but of course I need to make it even more tweaking. But this is nice, the combination of a So the Jupiter type of sound, which is this one. More mellow pad sound, and on top of that the Solina string. Yeah, and then you can changing the envelopes a little bit. Very long release. Okay, I'm checking the chat room, so everybody is following a little bit. So I could not resist to show you a little bit more about Blue 3 and what we have inside. So if I go back now to the manager and the, let me see, we had this harp. The rest tested Vox. That's a sound which is a combination of the finger bell, you know, this little finger bell, ding. I tuned it, and then you have it together with it. And the choir does change in sound. If you listen carefully, you hear really the... And that's of course the XY, which moves from one vocal sound to another one. Ah, I hit the wrong note. But you see, this is a bit of D50 inspired type of sound, you know. Yeah. So other things, so let me see. Of course they are pretty dry. We have the percussive tune sound, which are also some very interesting things. So if you would get then the sample list, you would have the sample stack big 2. So it stops now with sample stack big. That's in Blue 2. Then we get in Blue 3 we got sample stack big 2, which has the more multi-layer samples. The pizzicato is there. So pizzicato sounds. What we have more? This Santur, which I played. Solina strings. A gong. Stereo gong. This is a FX gong, which is also very interesting. This one to combine that with a other sound. These are sleigh bells. It's called Metal Sleigh 1 and 2. So I did my cooking. I'm a very bad chef. I must admit, in the kitchen I'm very bad. But with sound, I mangle and do all kind of odd stuff to get these kind of sounds. And I must say, Wavelab helped me a lot with finding loop points and doing some editing. So this is a very typical sound, and yeah, you could combine that one with a the tuned percussion, which has the balafon. that doesn't combine. No, that doesn't combine well. Maybe it combines better with what I had with the test voice. That's a good one. Maybe that's interesting to do the XY, because the XY, you know, in Bluetooth has the XY. And maybe I should take then another sample, and then you pick simply for oscillator 2. Let's try this out. This metal sleigh. Now you hear it, you know? Or the number 2. So instead of a choir sound, I take this sleigh, this. So I should save this one also. Save preset as. Test it Vox 2. So yeah, sound design work is in progress. Then we have, of course, the choir sounds, which one has a funny name, which is called okay, let's play it. It's called choir hysteria, because it's really a bit hysteria singing. Okay, let's. But also other choir sounds. Of course, in a particular range, they are nice, realistic, but if you play too high, it's not what they can sing. So then it sounds like Donald Duck choir, which is still cool. I think it's still cool. And of course, you can combine that. So you can say, okay, combine that with the toot sound, the two. Where are the guys? And make it so slow attack. And then we have the synth choir type of sounds, which is more like this. These we had pizzicato. So 1 second, guys. Need to click to. These called synth forks. Sounds a bit like a Fairlight. This is Femme Suite, and this is of course great for synth sounds. And this is myself. This is called a Vox Robtone. And that's cool. You can combine this. It's a diamond string, flute. Now you have the combination of the Solina strings with the choir. Yeah, it's indeed. I'm showing the go-to interface, but it's I cannot show the current Blue 3 because it's a ugly looking machine, and I still wanna show some let you hear some sound from Blue 3, which is hopefully gonna be released at the end of November. So that's the aim. So sorry for this image that it's a little bit disappointing. Okay, so let me finish, and then we go maybe back to go to again. So with the cool thing is that you can combine. So we have the Celtic harp, we have the Santur, and then we have the option in Blue 3 to combine them together because it has 6 oscillators. You even combine it together with FM synthesis, and then you really can make some cool new sounds. So that's the last sound what I'm gonna play for you. A Celtic harp combined with a santur. Cool, isn't it? Okay, guys, so let's go back now to the other things. Yeah, we have, of course, the go-to month, and I had at the beginning from the month, I already did a little bit of a beat together with, okay, let me shut down Blue 3 here. No. What? And this is a typical sound which shows the power of go-to, which I think no other synthesizer has this option, as far as I know. Not even in our own catalog. Go-to is really a unique machine. Is that you have in the arpeggiator, you have the option to have on each tab, you have the option to have a chord. So here it has a fifth, which is essentially not a chord, it's only CG, but then it goes to minor 6, minor A9, minor A9, so. So that's very cool. And if you say, okay, I want to play my own chords, then you simply go here in the commands and do reset tune. Okay, that was not the right one. Reset chord, where is it? Reset chord. You only have one note. And then you can play. If you then use not the up mode, but the chord mode, then you can play yourself the chord. So then now I see, yeah, the keyboard is not working. It's very late with the latency, but now I play a G minor. So you still can play your own chord, but that's the cool thing about go-to, especially if you're doing techno, that kind of things, very often in just one one basic chord, then you can really do some very cool. And so about this sequence, you see also here, sometimes you see set, which means that it uses the setting which is in the play mode. So let me explain that. So let's go to a default preset. Okay. Doesn't have introduction back. Oh, here it is. Okay, so very simple sound. I put on the arpeggiator. Okay, now it's 67. Now I can use here as unison, so I could say unison 3. Detune it. It sounds nice. Essentially, what you then have is 3 times it hits the same note only in a very optimized way. So essentially, unison 3 means that you use now 3 oscillators. So you see only 1 oscillator here, but now it gets 3, and they pan left, right, one stays in the middle, and the other pans left, right. And with detune, you detune it. So this is the setting. So if it's here on set, that uses the setting which is here in the unison mode. The chord unison, of course. Now it's unison 3, but you see here I also can select the chords already. But I put now 3 unison. And then I can have on step number, this one, I can say, I could do a minor. So on step 7, the unison is gone and does now a minor chord. So I could say a minor 7 here on this one. So you see, I can do some very cool stuff, and even can throw in pros. And now I still hit one note. Now it's still in the arpeggiator mode, so if I would play extra notes, they even come together. But with this, maybe it's better to simply play one note, or you could also say sequencer mode. Yeah, and then some people think, wait, what is this free row? Yeah, this free row you can use here, or you collect 1 second modulation. Free row, you control, for instance, the FX, which I like to do. I showed that a few times. You can do that with all our plugins. So you can say reverb mix. Here it is. We go to the reverb here. Mix 0. And then you use the control, the reverb mix. That's also what you can do. Cool, isn't it? And you can make this one go on, and then to make the reverb a little bit longer, then it takes a tie note, number 40. So then you can do some cool. So that's a very cool thing about Go 2. So it's compared to other synthesizers, it's limited, but yeah, as it is, limitation makes people creative, including me. So you do different things with a product like Go 2, or for instance, a Blue 2, and in the future then Blue 3, or even Predator 3, or Subboom Bass, because yeah, you simply do different things here. And that makes it so cool. So, and it of course has a very fair price. In the future, we might update Go 2, by the way, by adding some more waveforms, and maybe a simple thing where you can draw your own waveform in Go 2. So Go 2 will keep on developing. We will get animated dials in the near future, and the first update will be that we have Go 2 with a 200% size screen, because that was still lacking. Then you can select here in the control menu, you can select between the different screens. Excuse me. So let's see if I missed something in the chat room. Yeah, Alex Longard Rob, in Blue 3, will there be samples of acoustic piano? No, that would eat so much memory, with so much big, and there are so many good acoustic piano sounds inside other plugins. So, and it would eat too much of a memory. The focus is with Blue 3 really having new sounds. So what I did now in the early start of the live stream, that I showed you that you can combine the Santur together with the harp, the Celtic harp, really to make new sounds. I think that's one of the main thing which we focus on, doing very cool new things. And of course, yeah, if you will have a good piano, I think I have Cubase here. I think there's a very good pianos, I think, already inside of it. So let me see. Not sure, I think, how to select them. But there should be some very good. And then you simply can, click, combine them. Cancel. You can combine them by using the tracks, essentially. Because, if you go, there's a little trick, by the way, in Cubase. If you want to say, I want to combine two things together. There's a little trick. You see this one. Okay, let me close it. Here you see. Go to, it's playing now, this one. And this one is this one. Or this is one. And if you use hold the shift, the control, then you can select two tracks and then both are playing also. So that's a little trick inside. And then you could combine the pad sound from, instance, Blue 2 or Blue 3 or Predator to combine with the piano. Then you get a really great sound. So let's back now to the chat room. So that's a question in the chat room. For piano, it's a lot of data you need. You can, Blue 3, you can do your own samples, but we have the maximum of 6 samples. And the reason for this is because, you see, one preset has a lot of parameters. And if we would make that even, let's say, 24 samples, the whole program would be too big because of the amount of parameters. Because, a picture of Blue 2, I'm not sure how many it has, but I know that John once told me that, for instance, a Punch 2 has in the 10,000s of parameters, because picture, every parameter needs to be stored, like here in Blue 2. I don't know how much that one has, but let's say if you go to the easy page and you change something, that needs to be stored. So if you count everything and go to the, for instance, the multi-channel here, everything needs to be stored, each of the parts. And that's a whole long list of code inside each preset. So if we would have then too much samples into a Blue 3, that would be, make the program too big. So it's limited, which you will be doing with Blue 3 in terms of samples. So currently for the user, it's in one preset, you can use 6 of your own samples. Okay, so you see Blue 2, here's a very small version here. Okay, let's go back to Go 2. So you see, that's one of the cool features inside the Go 2. And of course, also here you have the velocity key dial, which you will find in the other plugins, which I mentioned a few times because people overlook this one. Because if you have, let's see, command button, I reset the chord. So now I can change here the velocity setting, and it makes that. Okay, let's shut down the reverb because that. Of course, now I have a setting here for velocity, And when I put it on a filter, I need to, of course, open the velocity. Hear that? Changes in the velocity. Oops. So now the programming, what I'm doing here, is ruling the whole engine. So the velocity setting here, this is on the velocity on the keyboard. So let's see it on the filter and do the extreme on the filter now. Hear that? So now I shut down the velocity. Now there's no velocity. It's no velocity. Now I open the amount. So now the velocity from the sequencer controls the filter. Now these are the settings here. So and if I change it, you had a different. Okay, when I turn this down now to the right, the keyboard is determine the velocity. So when I play soft or loud, that's the velocity. So that's the input via MIDI. And with some sequences, that can be interesting too, so that you're doing this yourself. I could also say here, arpeggiator mode. Let's do some up. So I do hit one note a bit harder. So if it's on the keyboard, here on this keyboard, the MIDI keyboard does make the velocity of the engine. So now it depends on how I play the keyboard in velocity. So that one I hit hard. And if you have the dial here to the left, it takes here the velocity input from this one. So okay, so I hope that explains a little bit. So depending on your sound, how you want to control the synthesizer engine, and maybe it's an idea that just pops up in my head. If the velocity keyboard is fully to the right, then the MIDI input is ruling. Maybe then this velocity should fade out. And if you change that a little bit, then it goes on, because you can mix between them. So you also can say, I want some of the velocity settings per step and the input of my keyboard. So let's go back to the chat room. Yeah, Blue 3 will be VST3 and VST2, both of them. Yeah, studio sound. Yeah, if you have one preset of Blue 3, you can use 6 of your own samples. So you can make a split point, 6 samples. And this can be selected in each oscillator, but it doesn't mean that each oscillator has its own 6 samples. It's just one preset has the option to have max of 6 samples of your own, and you can do a velocity split, or you can do a split in terms of keyboard range. Then somebody asked if I would be performing any live shows in the future, Rob. I stopped doing NAMM show because it was very expensive and only trade people came there. So it was not that interesting anymore. Frankfurt is gone. Maybe in Germany, maybe I'm planning to do this in Berlin. Now the name of it slips me, but that's very nice. It's mainly hardware, but maybe a nice idea to go over Berlin and to also show the software in this big city. It's I'm not, but synth something. Okay, it doesn't pop up. Okay, I'm checking out the. No, we don't have VU meters because that takes a lot of space. Yeah, all our current plugins are VST3 currently. Yeah. Super Boost. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry, Super Boost. Yeah. So that's May next year. Although we are, yeah, very often I'm so busy, and of course I have each time the live stream for people to join and look after, even if they can watch it afterwards. But yeah, it's always cool to meet people in person, of course. But never been to Berlin, so I think then Super Boost is mainly analog hardware gear, but they also have some software companies exhibiting there. So that is maybe the plan. So, but other shows are essentially, there was a show here in the Netherlands which was Dance Fair, but sadly the guy who organized it passed away, and yeah, there's a little demand for it. It's yeah, that's what I heard. Bill Smith, that there was a very cool vibe there, and so that's, if it's fitting in my timetable, I will be there. Of course, I will be playing live, but that's my music side at eLive in the Netherlands. That's 12th of November in Eindhoven. It's E, and then in midden a how you call it, hyphen, e-live.nl, I believe it is. Oh, cool. So a lot of talking by me now. So so that for the questions in the chat room. So yeah, next week most likely I can show you a little bit. Maybe I even can show you Blue 3. I'm not sure, but we are very far with the graphics. But at least I can show you and play you a few more samples. So today I did just a few, and yeah, the masterclass in my studio. Yeah, the max is once a month. So you need to be on time booking one. So once a month, I do indeed a masterclass training, private, or with a little group of 3, max 4 people in my studio, and that's once a month. So I'm still doing that. You can find that on my homepage, by the way. So if you let me see where you can find that. Let me see. Go to the homepage, and it's fun because yeah, then sometimes these subjects are also about, let me see, that's the masterclass in the Netherlands. So here it is. In my studio, you see my picture of my studio, and it's of course Dutch, and for Belgian people, Dutch. German people also could come, of course, if they are near Aachen or near, let's say, Düsseldorf. It's not that far from Düsseldorf, Aachen. I'm living in the south, and it's always fun. I teach then, sometimes also teach in music production or what you could do, but there's also synthesis, of course. So that's still available. So here you can see, and of course there is still the book available, the book DVD. Now the video content is in the cloud. So and then you go to Leonard, the publisher, and then you can watch the videos. So that's still around, and really a very good book if you want to know more about subtractive synthesis. It really gives you a basic foundation in understanding the synthesizer. So, of course, it's mainly subtractive synthesis because that's the most popular synthesis. So if you take, for instance, the Minimoog or Go-To or Predator 3, and of course, parts for a certain part, it's also the Blue, which has the subtractive synthesis, a combination with FM and subtractive. And of course, a sampler is essentially also a subtractive synthesizer. Only the waveforms are samples instead of saw wave or sinus. Private online teaching. Yeah, that's a good idea. That could be an option. Because now it's a little bit easier when you have then I think Google Meetings or Zoom, you have all that kind of things. I didn't thought too much about it because I'm very busy with the with everything. But yeah, sure. In the future, I think that will be an interesting thing to do. Then you can ask personal questions about synthesis, and sure, I will think about that. But currently, my agenda is currently a little bit too full, especially because yeah, I need also. Oh, strip is dash. Yeah, dash. And then there's a slash, which is an angle. So I'm too busy with, of course, Blue 3, the FX plugin, which is going to be released as well at the same moment we have Blue 3, a new very cool FX, and Explorer 8. And later on, we will get also a BIT version 2. Yeah, that's early, BIT version 2, but that will have some very cool new features as well. But that will be, I think, early next year. That will, so in the end, the first start will be then after a few months, we have 3 new plugins inside the Explorer 8. And of course, most anticipated is the Blue 3, which is going to be very, very cool. Okay. Oh, vector synthesis. Yeah, it's essentially we have the vector synthesis inside Blue. Blue 2, we have it in vector, and essentially also a little bit essentially with Go 2 with the XY pad, although you don't go from one waveform to another. Essentially in Blue 2 we have that, oh, it's very small, the small version. 1 second. Need to have the big one. So reselect. There it is. Essentially, it's inside of it here. So let me pick one preset. That is doing something else. Here, if you do vector synth, then it's the case with Blue 2 and also with Blue 3 that the first oscillators are going to, let me see if I can have a, and now you see it goes from A to B and C and D. This is the vector synth. And that's the same in Blue 3 as well, of course. Let me go to a default preset very fast, so then I can show you very fast. So essentially the XY, and you click on vector synth, you see A, B, C, and D. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Blue 3. But if you then go to the main screen again, that is the first one is a, let me take something. It's a waveform. So I take here saw. Second one, I take this one. So I use now 4 oscillators. I'm doing it very fast now. 4 oscillators, A, B, C, and D. So it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4 in Blue 3. And then take the last one. Okay, now, and I go now back to the XY. So then you have here the oscillator A, which is the saw, B, and D. This is essentially the XY. And that you can record, which you know, the recording, and replay it. goes. Now I need to see where the edit is. Oh, here is the edit. And then you can change the amount of dots. Even make it very small, only 8. Of course, it's not an exciting sound now, but that's the vector synth mode inside Blue 2, which uses the first 4 oscillators. And the other ones, so the other 2 are static, so they don't change with this. Of course, you still can use here the other destinations. So you have the vector mode and the other destinations. So you can do a lot of crazy things. One of the things which... Let me see another. No. And you see here in Blue 2 it lights up, the XY lights up a little bit. That means that it is used. While it's in the Tokyo Skyline, asking which presets is which A, B, C. No, it's not the presets, are the oscillators. So if I go back to the main screen, these are then the oscillators. So yeah, that maybe could be an idea to show which waveform is then in the vector mode available. So that could be an interesting idea. So I need to write it down. That's a good idea. Oh, we don't have a pen. That's a good one. So maybe we can do this because we have some room here. So here would then 1 and then show the waveform name. That could be interesting. But keep in mind that the XY, in contrast with Blue 2, here you need to go to the XY screen to have the XY visible. But with the Blue 3, we will have it this way that the XY always will be visible. So... Oh, you mean to show and select in the XY screen. Yeah, it's a good point. So the oscillator waveform to select it here. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point. We could make it a pop-up. I wrote it down. XY. Definitely a good idea. Okay, guys. So, yeah, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it a little bit. And see you hopefully next week. Now we catch on, and maybe I do have a little bit more presets and to show you, or not to show you, but to demo the sounds. Good, guys. Thanks for watching. Enjoy creating music, and see you next week.